Hi, welcome to Linu Economics Net YouTube channel. My name is Linu Alex, economics teacher. Today's video I am going to talk about the topic supply. At the end of the lesson, you are able to define supply, draw and interpret supply curve, explain the link between individual and market supply, distinguish between the movement along the supply curve and movement of the supply curve, analyze the causes of shift in supply curve. Okay, let's start the class. First of all, I would like to share with you a news what I read yesterday. This is the news. The impact of COVID-19 on cocoa and chocolate market. The spread of COVID-19 has led to lockdowns in international markets. In cocoa producing countries, lockdowns may disrupt the supply of cocoa. We know that COVID-19 badly affected the global economy. Here, I invite your attention to the last three words, supply of cocoa. What does it mean? In economics, supply means the ability and willingness to sell a product. Here, the supply of cocoa means the cocoa producer's ability and willingness to sell the cocoa in the market. The key words supporting the definition of supply will be ability and willingness. Supply should not be confused with the production. Production refers to the process through which the goods and services are produced. Supply, on the other hand, refers to the goods and services the producers are selling in the market. Now, let's check our learning outcome. Define supply. Can you define supply? The supply is the ability and willingness to sell the product in the market. If you can answer this question, please tick the first objective. Now, let's move on the next step, the relationship between the price and the quantity supplied. You already learned in previous class the inverse relationship between the price and quantity demanded. When the price rises, quantity demanded will fall, and price falls, quantity demanded will rise. There is an inverse relationship between the quantity demanded and price. Then, what is the relationship between the price and quantity supplied? Let's check one example. Here, Mr. Ali is the producer of bags. When the price of bag is 100, Ali supplies 150 bags to the market. When the price increases to 200, he supplies 250 bags to the market. When the price of bag falls to 50, Ali supplies only 50 bags. What do you think of this example? When the price of bag rises, Ali will be eager and willing to supply more quantity of bags to the market. When the price rises, he can earn more revenue and profit. But the price of bag falls, Ali supplies less bags to the market because he won't be able to earn more revenue and profit. So, the price of the product and its quantity supplied are positively related. That means, when the price of a good falls, the quantity supplied of the product will fall. The positive relationship between the price and quantity supplied we can show with the help of a table. It is called supply schedule. Here, the relationship between the price and quantity supplied are displayed. When the price is 100, the quantity supplied of commodity will be 1000. And when the price increases to 100 to 200 and quantity supplied increase from 1000 to 2000. The supply schedule records the different quantity supplied at different price level. We can represent this supply schedule in a diagram. It is called supply curve. In x-axis, we write quantity supplied and y-axis price. The supply curve is upward sloping from left to right. When the price increased from 100 to 200, the supply increased from 1000 to 2000. Hope you understand the relationship between the price and quantity supplied. And now you are able to draw supply curve. Let's move on to the next step, individual supply and market supply. Look at this example. Here, two firms are producing ice cream, firm A and firm B. As seen in this schedule, the quantity supplied of ice cream increasing with the increase in price. This is the supply schedule of firm A. As the name suggests, the individual supply means the supply of individual producers or firm at various level of prices during a given period of time. Here, the firm A supply 500 ice creams per day. Now you know the meaning of individual supply. Then what is the market supply? There are two firms in our example, firm A and firm B. Can you guess how to calculate market supply in our example? Please look at here. Here, the two individual supplies of firm A and firm B. We can easily find the market supply of ice cream here by adding up the supplies of all producers in the market. As seen in this schedule, at price 10, the individual supply of firm A is 500 and individual supply of firm B is 1000. To get the market supply, we are adding up the supplies from firm A and firm B, then we get the market supply. Here 500 plus 1000, so the market supply is 1500 ice creams. The quantities that would be supplied by each firm at each price are added up. So the aggregation or total supply of each individual firms gives the market supply. Hope you understand the individual supply and market supply of a product. Individual supply is the supply of individual firm in a market, whereas the market supply is the total supply of goods and services in a market by all the firms in an industry. Now let's move to the next step, that is movement along the supply curve or the effect of changes in price on supply. There are two types of movement due to change in price. Number 1, extension of supply or expansion of supply. Number 2, contraction of supply. Let's check what is extension in supply. As we discussed earlier, the producers are more willing to supply a larger quantity when the price is high. An extension in supply can be explained with the help of a diagram. Please look at here. Here, if the price rises from P1 to P2, the supply will expand from point A to B. The quantity supply increase from Q1 to Q2. So, extension in supply means a rise in the quantity supplied is caused by a rise in the price of the product itself. The second one, contraction in supply. The contraction in supply can be explained with the help of a diagram. Please look at this diagram. Here, the price falls from P1 to P2. As a result, the quantity supplied decreased from Q1 to Q2. A contraction of supply means a fall in quantity supplied of a product is caused by a fall in the price of the product itself. Remember, the extension and contraction of supply is due to the changes in the price of the product. This is called the movement along the supply curve. Hope you understand the extension and the contraction of supply. Now, let's move on to the next step, the movement of the supply curve. It's also called shift in supply or a change in supply. Changes in supply means the changes in the supply condition causing a shift in supply curve. Remember, price do not play any role in this case. So, these are the non-price factors causing supply to shift. Here we can see two types of changes in supply, an increase in supply and decrease in supply. An increase in supply can be explained with the help of a diagram. Here in the diagram, we can see the supply curve shift from S1 to S2. The supply curve will shift if there is a change in non-price factor which affect the producers. Here, the supply curve shift to the right without any change in the price. The price remains in P1, but quantity supplied increased from Q1 to Q2. An increase in supply means a rise in supply at a given price, causing the supply curve shifted to the right. The producer is ready to supply more of the product without any changes in price. The second one, decrease in supply. Here, the supply curve is moving from S1 to S3 because the producers cannot supply as much at each price. Decreasing supply means a fall in supply at any given price, causing the supply curve shifted to left. Here, the producers are supplying less of the product without any changes in the price. Hope now you can explain the increase in supply and decrease in supply with the help of diagrams. Here, you have to remember the movement along the supply curve means the extension in supply and contraction in supply. In that case, the supply curve never shifts. So, the increase in price or decrease in price causes the movement along the supply curve. But here, the movement of the supply curve means the supply curve shift to right or left. The causes of shifts are the non-price factors. An increase in supply shifts the supply curve to the right, and decrease in supply shifts the supply curve to the left. As I said, the non-wage factors causing the supply curve shift to left or right. Now we are going to discuss what are these non-wage factors causing the supply to change. Number 1. Changes in the cost of production. Cost of production is an important factor affecting supply. The cost of production includes the price of raw materials and wages or salaries. Cost of production may increase because of increase in the price of raw materials and reduce the productivity of factors of production, and increase in the wages paid to the workers. When the cost of production increase means the firms are unable to produce more goods and services and supply to the market. As a result, the supply curve moves to the left. This can be shown with the help of this diagram. Please look at these diagrams. Here, the supply curve shifts to left from S1 to S2 because of rise in cost of production. And in the second case, the supply curve moves from S1 to S2 to the right because a fall in cost of production encourages the firm to produce more goods and services and supply to the market. So I want to conclude, an increase in cost of production reduces the supply and decrease in cost of production will increase the supply. The second point causing the supply curve shifted to left or right is tax. Every firm has to pay some sort of tax to the government. If it is direct tax, example, direct tax like corporation tax, and indirect tax like excise duties or what the firm has to pay to the government. So, if there is a rise in tax or imposition of new tax, the producers are unable to produce more goods and services because it becomes very expensive. So, this would reduce the supply at any given price. So, supply curve shifted to left side. Please check the diagram. Here, the supply curve moved from S1 to S2 to the left because an increase in tax will reduce the supply of goods and services available to the market. But in the next diagram, a decrease in the tax will encourage the firm to produce more goods and services and supply to the market. So, an increase in tax will shift the supply curve to the left and a decrease in tax will shift the supply curve to the right. Next point is subsidy. Subsidy is a payment by the government to the producers or consumers to encourage the production or consumption. Subsidy reduces the cost of production. As a result, the producers are able to produce more of the product and they will supply those products to the market. As a result, the supply curve moves to the right. Here in the diagram, subsidy encourages the production. As a result, the supply curve moves to the right side. But in the second diagram, the removal of subsidy causes the supply curve move to the left side from S1 to S2. The next point is price of other products. A farm produces different range of products. For example, if a farmer keeps cattle and sheep, a rise in price and profitability of lamb is likely to result in a farmer keeping fewer cows and corresponding decrease in the supply of beef. The supply curve of beef will shift to the left. An increase in popularity of one product will increase its price and supply will be extended. The prices of other products will not be changed, but the farm will supply less of these products at each and every price. Besides, the products being supplied in a competitive environment, they can also be jointly supplied. This means that one product is automatically made when another product is produced. For example, when more beef is produced, more skin will be available to be turned into leather. So, the supply curve for leather will shift to the right at any price. The next point is weather and other disasters. Extreme weather conditions or any natural disasters such as floods, drought, as well as wars may disrupt the supply of goods and services. It reduces the availability of labor, especially for agricultural goods. As a result, the supply for these goods will decrease at any given price and causes the supply curve shift to left. The next point is discoveries and depletion of commodities. The supply of some commodities such as coal, gold and oil is affected by discoveries of new sources. So if new sources of these commodities are discovered, supply is likely to increase and may cause the supply curve to shift to the right. The next point is technology. The technological improvement and equipments, machineries, etc. will increase the supply of goods to the market. And new production methods will reduce the cost of production of the firms. So, the technological improvements will increase the supply of the products. As a result, supply curve moves to the right. Now, I would like to summarize the points. First, we learn the definition of supply, the ability and willingness to sell a product. Next one, the relationship between the price and quantity supplied. There is a positive relationship between the price and quantity supplied. Then we discussed the supply schedule and supply curve. The supply curve is upward sloping from left to right. Then individual supply and market supply. Then the movement along the supply curve and extension in supply and contraction in supply due to price change. Then changes in supply or shift in supply due to changes in the non-price factors. Dear students, hope you get a clear idea on the topic supply. Let's meet in another class with another topic. If you have any doubts regarding this topic, please write it in comment box. Please subscribe my YouTube channel and click the bell icon so you will get the notification when I upload new videos. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.